I want to do a video on wrestling right now and kind of what's been going on with the state of wrestling, both WWE and AEW. I wanted to, first of all, before we go into a few different points I want to discuss, I want to say that just to make sure people don't think that I somehow have some kind of hatred toward Tony Khan because people have said, "Oh, friends of mine think that I hate him." I really don't hate the dude. I just think that he's not a very good booker, and I think that I don't like when he talks out of turn, and he's just kind of an unusual guy. He's not very good on camera. But when he says dumb things, it just kind of leaves me kind of eye rolling. Now, with that being said, last week for Bray Wyatt's funeral, he flew a private plane out there to get all the talent to go to, I think it was Ohio where they were at, or maybe it was Michigan. I don't remember. But that was cool of him to do. I don't think he's a bad guy at all. It's just that he's not very TV centric, in my opinion. Now, I will say this as well. I talked about how the buildup for All In and All Out was pretty damn terrible. What I find interesting is that next week is Stadium Showdown. Next week is a big show for AEW at Arthur Ashe. Obviously, 2 years ago in 2021, they did their biggest attendance at that time with 20,000 people. And then the following year, I think they hit like, was it 12,000? This year, from what I understand, they've only got about 7,000 tickets sold. So, man, it's not all their fault, but it just goes to show like things, go up and down. But the build up to Grand Slam has actually been better than the build up to All In or All Out. I've actually been enjoying that. This Wednesday's Dynamite, I thought was a pretty good show. I thought the tournament is kind of stupid. I'm kind of tired of AEW doing tournaments where you have like three guys who could actually win, then a bunch of guys who aren't going to win. It's kind of really dumb. They always seem to do that around this time of year. They got to chill out with the tournaments. Plus, if they already shot the angle for Samoa Joe and MJF, there was no need to have them win a tournament to do it. They could have saved the tournament for a future title shot at a future pay-per-view. Instead, they're doing it at Arthur Ashe. But besides that, the build-up's been great. Samoa Joe's been phenomenal against MJF. Him choking out Adam Cole's great. Roderick Strong is hilarious as the broken-hearted ex-friend Taylor Swift character. He's really funny in that role. I kind of like where things are going creatively in AEW right now. And I think the shows have been a little bit better lately than they were before. And it's a damn shame, that like All In and All Out didn't get this kind of build-up. Because I do think the build-up for Stadium Showdown has been really, really solid. So that is that. Now, the news now is that Jade Cargill is going to be headed up to WWE. And, I had some discussions with people because the thing about Jade Cargill, she had her last match at the Rampage tapings. I'm not going to spoil it, but you kind of know what. If she's leaving, you already know the result. But the rumor or the speculation is that she's going to be headed up to WWE. Now, the thing about Jade Cargill is she has a great look for the business. Very much has a lot of charisma. Maybe not at first, but the longer she was on television, the more I started to see her charisma. Tony, cut the shit. Like, she was funny to me over time. The problem with her is she wasn't a very good in-ring performer. She's very, very green. And going to WWE and going through the NXT system is the best thing for her as far as in-ring goes, because look at the kind of women and even men that the NXT system has produced. I mean, literally some of the best, maybe almost all of the best women wrestlers in North America have come from that system. Becky Lynch, who recently won the NXT title on NXT, and that show did over 1 million viewers in the overrun. Obviously Charlotte, Bianca Belair. I mean, the list goes on. Sasha Banks, Bayley. These are all super talented women that came out of that NXT system. So she is somebody who could benefit from it. But from what I understand, she might not be going to NXT. She might be going right to the main roster. So her work may not end up being on the level of a Bianca Belair, but the strategy here is because now that the WWE UFC merger, I guess you can call it that, the combination into TKO, which is the parent company of the two, now that that's done, it's been finalized, which is a very historic day ever in wrestling. That is an opportunity for a lot of people to transition, not just from mixed martial arts to pro wrestling and vice versa, but also out into Hollywood, because Endeavor is an agency. They have agencies all over the place that can help people become bigger stars out in Hollywood doing movies. And the rumor was back in May when Jade Cargill dropped the title, the TBS title, to Chris Statlander, that she was going to quit the business and go to Hollywood. That was discussed all summer. But now apparently she might do the WWE UFC thing. It's going to be an interesting acquisition. I don't think it's going to mean as much as like a Cody Rhodes or somebody of that ilk jumping over, obviously, because that was an EVP who is now the top babyface in the business. But also, Jade Cargill does have an upside, and from what I understand from people who know her, she seems like a pretty cool person. Like, I've had people tell me that she's genuinely a nice, humble person behind the scenes. So all she needs is a little bit of seasoning here and there, and she could actually be a pretty big star. And I could see her actually being a great, effective heel against people like a Becky Lynch or Bianca or any of the women on the roster, you know? So that's an interesting, I think, story that's developing right now. I don't believe the rumor. It's been back and forth now about Edge going to AEW. As much as I would love Edge to reunite with Christian, whether it be a feud or even a tag team, I don't know if it's going to happen, man. Like, I just don't see that, because Edge is super loyal to WWE, and I actually think it wouldn't be that great of a career move, because even though he might make a few bucks here and there in AEW because Tony Khan pays very well, I also think that he is close to retiring. We know that. He had his last match on SmackDown against Sheamus, and that he basically made it seem that that was it, but he still has a big WrestleMania match left to go, and maybe even a Saudi show, because those pay really well. So I could see Edge retiring at WrestleMania, and it feels like it would make more sense for him to retire in WWE than it would AEW. AEW seems to be a bit more fitting for younger talent. They've already got a few veterans there, Chris Jericho being the centerpiece of the veterans, and Edge would be a great addition as far as teaching some of the guys, you know, his experience and things like that. But I also feel like I don't know, man. I don't believe that he's going to AEW. I just don't think so. I really don't. I think that report, there was a report that came out a couple days ago that said that, you know, he's been removed from the WWE roster page, but then he got put back on as alumni. Like, I don't even know. I think it's all like fun and games. Remember, Drew McIntyre, everyone said he was done months ago, and then he came back. So I'm not sure if he's really done. Edge himself said he has a contract in his inbox, and he's going to basically take a break, spend time with his family, but I could see him coming back for one more match. And if you were to ask me, who is the perfect opponent for Edge's retirement, let's look at Edge's career. If it can't be Christian, who is logical, the next best thing, or maybe the best thing, is Mr. John Cena. Who is the guy that Edge first cashed in Money in the Bank to win his first world title against? John Cena. Who's the guy that helped elevate Edge to main event status, and vice versa? John Cena. They feuded in 2006, a little bit in '07, a little bit in '09. Edge also feuded with guys like DX and The Undertaker, but with those acts, those groups, those guys, they're retired. John Cena is not really retired yet. So John Cena versus Edge at WrestleMania 40 would be a phenomenal retirement match for Edge if he wants to go out in Philly in April of 2024. I want to say one more thing about the CM Punk thing too. So the story's already kind of settled down, but I feel like there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and there's been talk that CM Punk's side is going to have something to say. And we're still waiting for that, because CM Punk has not released a statement. Neither has his legal team. This could turn into something legal. When Tony Khan went on TV and said he was terminated with cause, the first thing I thought of was, is this going to become a lawsuit? And Conrad Thompson on the Jeff Jarrett podcast, I think it was that one, of the Bischoff podcast, was like, yeah, it's going to be legal. Like, he thought the same thing I did. Like, this could end up being a legal thing, because that, you know how it is with lawyers, man. But we still haven't heard from him yet. I don't know about him going to WWE. Nick Khan released a statement that kind of made it seem like, hey, you know, we respect Phil. We're proud of what he did here and in the UFC. it didn't seem like they were excited to bring him back. It was a very corporate response to CM Punk coming back. It wasn't like we'd be excited to talk to any talent. It wasn't that. It was more like, yeah, we saw what he did, we respect what he did. And I think what Nick Khan is talking about, I don't think he respects like Punk getting into backstage fights. I think what he means is the fact that Punk wrestled for WWE for X number of years, then went and had the balls to go fight in the UFC. And that is something that you could respect, right? I think that's what he's talking about. I don't believe he was saying it more so with the recent Punk behavior, but obviously with the way Punk's been behaving lately, there's going to have to, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's not going to go. I can't predict the future, but I don't think he's going to go to WWE. I don't think WWE wants him or needs him right now. And why would you want to mess up a locker room that's actually pretty good? Like, they're all getting along now. There's not that many issues right now, so why disrupt that by bringing somebody else in? So anyways, I guess that's my ramble for today. I'm going to come back in a few days and probably do another wrestling video discussing the WrestleMania 40 card and what is going to happen on that show in detail. Well, I can't go into detail because not everything has been set up yet, but there's a few things that have already been set up. So I'll talk about that then. Take care, y'all. See you in that video. And I'll see you here on the channel sooner than later.